How is everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of The Banker Next Door. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. This is another crypto series update. I believe we're up to episode number 12 now in the crypto series, and I'm going to be talking about the rapid increase in crypto fraud today. So I'm going to bring in an article here. But before we jump into this, I just want to say that this is the first, and I'm going to have at least probably 4 more episodes updating on the crypto series here in the next week or so. I've got a basically just, kind of an update on the stablecoin debate and from a political standpoint, what's going on in Congress with the potential legislation. I've got an article to cover called the cryptocurrency debate. And then I have a number of reports that just came out. So I'm going to be doing an episode on the Bank of International Settlements. They just released a paper on stable coins. Basically, it's like, stable coins do not, I repeat, do not act as safe havens during crypto market stress, but their market capitalization drops after significant shocks. So I'm going to be doing a report on that, or I'm going to be doing an episode on that report as it comes out. And then we also have several other reports, a couple reports that just recently came out from the Financial Stability Board. One was basically, cross-border crypto asset activities present regulatory and supervisory challenges. And then in a separate report, the Financial Stability Board also said that tokenization could become relevant, but a number of factors now limit its broader adoption in the financial system. So I definitely want to talk about what's going on with those 2 reports. And then finally, we have another report from the Bank of International Settlements, and this is called Tokenization's Impact Remains Uncertain. So a new report outlines the opportunities, risk, and future considerations for tokenization, or the process of generating and recording a digital representation of traditional assets on a programmable platform. In other words, there's some issues. So those are basically 4 crypto related. Those are going to be the next 4 crypto episodes. I'll probably be shooting those maybe I didn't want to put like 4 crypto episodes out in 1 week. So I'll probably do a couple, real quick, and then, probably do like 2 next week, 2 the week after, that kind of thing, to keep them coming out. But a lot of really good stuff there to cover. But the first thing I wanted to hit today was basically the rapid growth of crypto fraud that we're seeing. And this is beyond, what was going on with the collapse of FTX and so on and so forth. But let's jump into this. So this was a recent blog post from October 16th from PCBB that basically says crypto fraud is growing rapidly. So the summary here is, while the number of fraud complaints related to cryptocurrency schemes is still small compared to all complaints, the dollar losses have skyrocketed, eclipsing all other types of financial fraud losses. The whole idea of pig butchering, which we're going to talk about in a minute, has really and this starts off with basically saying cryptophagia, the secret language that only twins can understand, is a fascinating quirk of communications. To an outsider, it seems like pure gibberish, but to those who created and share the language, it's perfectly clear. The world of cryptocurrency can feel much the same for many community bankers and their customers. Its complex terminology and anonymous nature create a financial language that's often incomprehensible to those who aren't in the know. Unfortunately, this confusion has allowed a new breed of fraudsters to exploit gaps in understanding, leaving unsuspecting customers, especially older ones, vulnerable to skyrocketing losses from crypto scams. Just like deciphering cryptophagia, it's up to community financial institutions to crack the code on how to help protect their customers from these growing threats. As we discussed earlier this year in our article about pig butchering, the scale of cryptocurrency fraud has reached alarming proportions, with annual losses now surpassing the asset value of all but the biggest CFIs. Per the Internet Crime Complaint Center, and they have this great chart here, per the Internet Crime Complaint Center, total crypto fraud losses jumped 45% in 2023 to reach $5.6 billion. The center said it received over 69,000 complaints in 2023, the biggest marks people over the age of 60, who accounted for almost 17,000 complaints and the most losses at $1.6 billion. So basically elder fraud, they're doing elder fraud only through cryptocurrency. And then we can see here, IC3 complaints with reference to cryptocurrency. And you can see here that the blue line is the amount of losses, and the kind of yellow line with the blue squares in it, or the blue, I don't know, whatever you say, diamonds or whatever, has just skyrocketed here. From 2017, it was nothing, a little bit more in 18, 19, 20. And then you saw a huge jump in 2021 to 20,000. And then another, basically the last 3 years have just been enormous jumps. 20,000, 45,000, now up to 70,000 complaints. And the losses have coincided with that, jumping from, about, 2.8 billion up to 4.2 billion, now up to, 5.6 billion dollars in fraud. I mean, it's a staggering amount of fraud in a very short period of time. So, and then it goes on to say here, the CFIs, for CFIs, the message is that bankers need to be mindful of cyber fraud, not just against the institution, but also against its customers, particularly older customers. Helping customers protect their assets from crypto fraud is becoming increasingly urgent. While crypto fraud only accounts for just 10% of all types of financial fraud, complaints logged by the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, it is still far costlier, accounting for about half of all financial fraud losses in 2023. So crypto fraud doesn't come in one flavor. It runs the gamut of financial fraud. Among the most prevalent are the following. So we have investment scams. We have call center fraud. We have romance scams. And then we have cryptocurrency kiosks. And then it gets down here and it says the likeliest targets. What makes someone a good target for crypto fraud? Age, state of residence, and country. And then it gets down into like how to help customers avoid getting scammed. And we'll get into the number of things here, but let's go back up to this for a second. So the types of fraud, so investment scams. So these scams, which are the most straightforward in that they involve an unknown person contacting the victim and convincing them to invest in a specific cryptocurrency, are the most reported and the costliest crypto fraud method. About 70% of crypto scam losses are due to investment scams. So if you're like me, and you're out there on social media, you get people, especially if you're on X or Facebook or even LinkedIn, like you're going to get people like, that will private message you and say like, oh, hey, how you doing, man? What's going on? This, that, and the other thing. And then you know exactly where it's going the minute they're like, oh, hey, have you ever invested in crypto before? You want to do some crypto investment? And then that's immediately when you end the conversation, delete it, unfollow the person, and basically move on, because it's just, they're just trying to scam you. And it's ridiculous at how much of this goes on. And then we have, call center fraud. This type of crypto fraud takes the shape of impersonations of legitimate call centers like tech support, customer support, or government agencies. The IRS is a favorite of impersonators. So this fraud scam accounts for about 10% of losses. Romance, and this is where we get into kind of like the pig butchering stuff. The ever popular romance fraud involves an online scammer smoothly engaging a vulnerable person into a supposed romantic online relationship that ends up with the victim sending money to the scammer. Romance scams used cryptocurrency payoffs to the tune of 215 million in losses for victims. I have personally seen this one play out. I almost forgot to mention this, but I should mention. So don't forget, I reported on the bank CEO from the bank in Kansas that failed last year. It was the sixth failure of the year last year, and it failed because the CEO defrauded the bank, basically wired out. I forget what the number was. $45 million, something like that. But it was a small bank, but still, it was a bank that was around for a long time. And this guy defrauded the bank because he got sucked into a cryptocurrency scam. And that, and it's a terrible thing, terrible situation. But it just goes to show you that this can happen to, highly experienced people that have a lot of, background in, running financial institutions and financial scams and financial fraud. Like people can get sucked into this stuff, Cryptocurrency kiosks. The arrival of cryptocurrency kiosks that work like ATMs have further enabled cryptocurrency finance schemes. Victims may be directed to these kiosks to convert cash into cryptocurrency that is then delivered to the scammer. There were more than 5,000 complaints in 2023 involving the use of these kiosks, and losses amounted to 189 million. So, and then obviously, again, back to the likeliest targets, what makes someone good crypto fraud? Their age. Obviously, the over 60 crowd counted for a huge part of this. Now, state of residency. As might be expected, the most populous states of California, Florida, New York, and Texas had the most incidents. But every state and territory reported cyber finance frauds. Even tiny Guam had 8 complaints. Why do you think California, Florida, New York, and Texas? Because they have, for the most part, they have older populations, particularly Florida, particularly New York. Texas and California might be a little bit more even, but they have older populations. And obviously with the older demographic being the one that's being hit, they're easy targets. And then finally, country. It's probably no surprise that the U.S. is the world hotbed for these frauds, but that might come as a shock is just how much of this problem lands on our shores. The U.S. leads the world with 57,000 complaints, and second place is Canada with only 1,236, but no other country has even had 1,000 complaints. In terms of losses, the 4.8 billion tallied by the U.S. dwarfs every other country, none of which had even $250 million in losses. That is amazing. That is amazing. So, and then, okay, now how can we help people to avoid these scams? So let's run through these 6 tips here. Number 1, be wary of anything that sounds too good to be true. Absolutely. Be on guard for financial deals that involve cryptocurrency. Number 3, avoid texts or emails from strangers and companies offering unsolicited financial advice or deals. Number 4, avoid responding to offers that guarantee a return on investment, particularly very high returns. If you have been the victim of a crypto investment scam, watch out for scam recovery offers. Rather than helping victims recover funds, these are often scams that ask for payment but never recover any of the victim's lost money. Yeah, that is a common... what am I thinking of? Thinking of co-ops. No, timeshares. I'm sorry, co-ops, timeshares. Yeah, that's the scam that goes on with timeshares. You get stuck in a timeshare, you want to get out of it, and then these companies call you up and say, "Oh, hey, we'll get you out of that timeshare. You just pay us the moolah. You send us a check, and then we'll take care of this, no problem." And then you send them a check, and then you never hear from them again. And then the problem persists and only gets worse. So it's same kind of thing. So, and then number 6. Before getting involved with anyone offering an investment, check their licenses, their certifications, and their registrations. Verify what company they are with and contact the company via one of the methods listed on their website found via search engine, rather than clicking a website link in the advisor's email. Cryptocurrency fraud poses a significant risk to individuals and financial institutions, costing billions in losses. To protect their customers and themselves, financial institutions should educate them about the dangers of cryptocurrency fraud and provide guidance on how to avoid falling victims. So, yes. So great article here, just showing the kind of shocking increase in cryptocurrency fraud that we're seeing out there right now. So again, if you have parents that are over the age of 60, I mean, you should absolutely be telling them to be very wary of this. Just like any other fraud, just like, they call up, "Hey, we'll refinance your mortgage for you. Just give me your social security number and your date of birth and all this other information." Or, hey, I've got a great investment, I'll invest you in ETFs and mutual funds, and it'll be wonderful. We'll make you money. There's an unlimited number of scams out there, but people love to pry on older people. So we have to, keep an eye on that. If you have, aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents, anybody out there who's of, like I said, an advanced age, an older age, 60, 65, 70 plus, definitely tell them, advise them of what's going on with this stuff. Look out for your customers. It gets very difficult because I don't like prying into customers' lives per se. I don't think most people do, but it's an unfortunate it's an unfortunate necessity in today's world because of all this different fraud, all these different schemes going on. And it's amazing, I think, how many times you do when you're interacting with customers that you start asking them questions when they come in and they're like, oh yeah, I need to wire $50,000 out of my account over to this today, when that customer's been your customer for 25 years and they've never sent one wire ever for anything. And you're kind of like, that's odd. Why would you be sending this wire today, and why for $50,000? Or is there something specific going on here? Like what happened? Is this and invariably you find out that there's some type of scam. Could be a romance scam, pig butchering thing, or just a more straightforward crypto fraud, or could be something else. Could be some kind of other nonsense. But anyway, I just thought this was great. I really wanted to point out, and if for anybody who hasn't guessed it yet, I find cryptocurrency, I find Bitcoin, blockchain technology, I find all this stuff very fascinating. I'm very much like a technology geek. So I love following this stuff. I love, and it does fall into a certain segment of the financial world. So I feel like I need to follow it. I need to keep abreast of all the stuff that's going on there with that, just keep up to date on all the happenings with it. But I am not a fan. I'm not a fan of cryptocurrency. I don't own any cryptocurrency. I would not recommend anybody buy cryptocurrency. I had a lot of friends that I tried to tell them to stay away from it, and they were all into it. And then FTX just blew up, and now a lot of them are basically like, yeah, not going down that rabbit hole again. So, and again, and I'm not saying that there won't come a day when it would be good to invest in Bitcoin. I just don't think that now is that time. I think that, and it's not the technology, it's the players in the space. I do not trust the players in this, but the technology I think is fine. I think Bitcoin is itself, blockchain technology, this is all fine. This is all really cool, good stuff, but it's the players. It's the FTXs, the Binances, the Coinbases. It's the Krakens. It's all these guys out there that I just think are shady. And I think they're, I have to be careful. I think that, again, I don't trust them. I'll just put it that way. I do not trust them. But anyway, that's what I got for you today. Keep an eye out. Like I said, there will be more installments here of the crypto series. I got 4 more installments teed up, a bunch of reports coming from the Financial Stability Board, from the Bank of International Settlements, a lot of great reports that came out. I'll get you some regulatory updates on what's going on with like stablecoin and other crypto regulation, as it were. So keep an eye out for those episodes coming over the next couple of weeks. And then I'll just wrap up with, if you like this episode, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as that really helps the channel. Remember, we are on YouTube, Rumble, and all major podcast platforms. Please leave your comments down below, as I love getting back to everybody. Please make sure to check out some of the other content on the channel, and I will see everybody again real soon. Thanks a lot.